Barak the YaHaWah, Barak the YaHaWaShi. Barak the YaHaWah, Barak the YaHaWaShi. Barak the YaHaWah, Barak the YaHaWaShi. BaHaSham, Rawcha, Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who teach well and rule well, who taught me this truth. Peace and salutation to the Akim, pushing this truth at risk of their own lives throughout the four corners of the earth. To the Akwith listening and learning, Shalom. It's your brother Shema from the Pillars of Benjamin camp, here with another lesson. And through the spirit and power of YaHaWah, the title of this lesson, the chariots, right? And it's kind of an expounding on a lesson I did yesterday titled as Birds Flying. And in the lesson I mentioned chariots, but I didn't clarify that the chariots of the Most High YaHaWah are what the world ignorantly calls UFOs, right? Psalm 68, let's get right into it. Verse 17. The chariots of YaHaWah, BaHaSham YaHaWaShi, are 20,000, even thousands of angels, right? The chariots of the Most High, the vehicles of the Most High, are 20,000s, even thousands of angels, and the thousands of angels are the pilots of the vehicles of the Most High. The Lord, Adawan, YaHaWaShi, is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place, right? The chariots are vehicles of the Most High BaHaSham YaHaWaShi, and his holy angels are the pilots of them, right? Let's get the Hebrew word. Psalm 68, verse 17. The chariots.
Strong's H7393.
Rahev. A team, chariot, riders, troop. By implication, right? A vehicle of the Most High, YaHaWah YaHaWaShi. The chariots, what the world even calls UFOs, are the vehicles of the Most High YaHaWah YaHaWaShi. Let's get another precept. Matthew 24. Matthew 24, verse 29, red letter, YaHaWaShi said this. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, right? The tribulation of those days. World War III going to be popping off. Jacob's trouble going to be popping off, right? The sun shall be darkened. Why is the sun going to be darkened? The ICBMs and the laser beam from the chariots are going to be pelting this place, right? And the moon shall not give her light, right? The dust, the nuclear dust, it's going to black out. The moon's not going to give her light. And the stars shall fall from heaven. That's those ICBMs flying through the sky, pelting Babylon the Great, America the Great. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. The whole earth is going to shake, man. Right? Verse 30, here's the point. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, the Son of Man, YaHaWaShi HaMashiach, right? And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. Everyone's going to be crying and mourning, man, right? When YaHaWaShi cracks that sky, right? And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. He's coming back with his chariots and the mighty angels, power and great glory, right? And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. He's going to send his angels. And they shall gather together his elect, the elect of Israel, Israel being a people before a place, the so-called indigenous, the so-called Negro, the so-called Latino. And he shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other, right? The elect are going to be gathered by the chariots from one end of heaven to the other, man. Adawan Ratazah were of that number, the hopeful elect. Right? First Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16. For the Lord himself shall descend, right? YaHaWaShi himself shall descend from heaven with a shout. Let's get Acts chapter 1, and we'll come back to that. Because the same way YaHaWaShi left, the same way he's coming back. He's going to descend from heaven, the same way he ascended up into heaven. Acts chapter 1, verse, I believe it's 6. Acts chapter 1, verse 6. When they therefore were come together, they asked him, the disciples asked YaHaWaShi, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? So the prophets, the disciples knew the scriptures that YaHaWaShi, it's prophesied that YaHaWaShi has to come back and restore the kingdom to Israel, right? So they asked YaHaWaShi HaMashiach when they saw him after he was crucified. When they saw him, they're like, is this the time? Is this the time? Right? Verse 7, and he said unto them, red letter, this was YaHaWaShi's answer. It is not for you to know the times or the season which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me, both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost parts of the earth. The uttermost parts of the earth today is the four corners. America the Great, Babylon the Great, all over the earth, prophesying the downfall of Babylon the Great, America the Great, and that YaHaWaShi is going to come back and restore the kingdom to Israel, right? Acts 1, verse 9. And when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up. So while YaHaWaShi was telling the disciples these things, while they were looking on him, he was taken up. And a cloud received him out of their sight. A chariot, what the world inwardly calls UFOs, received YaHaWaShi out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, while they were looking up into heaven as YaHaWaShi was being taken up, right? Behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, two angels, right? Which also said, ye men of Galilee. So the two angels said to the disciples, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? Right, because they're amazed. This same YaHaWaShi, which is taken up from you into heaven, right? This same YaHaWaShi, which you just witnessed going up into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So the same way he left, the same way YaHaWaShi, HaMashiach, left, is the same way he's going to come back. 1 Thessalonians 4, verse 16. For the Lord, Adawan, YaHaWaShi, himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of the Most High, and the dead in HaMashiach shall rise first. So those dead in HaMashiach are going to rise first. Then we which are alive and remain, so us that are alive, Most High willing, we're of that, the hopeful elect, we're of that number, right? Us which are alive, right? When this place is being pelted with ICBMs and the laser beams from the chariots, shall be caught up together with them in the clouds. We're going to get beamed up to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord, right? So we're going to get beamed up. Wisdom of Solomon 5. Close out with this one right here. Wisdom of Solomon 5, verse 2. Right? Close out with this one right here. And the heathen nations, the other nations are going to behold, they're going to witness this, man. Right? Wisdom of Solomon 5, verse 1. When they shall see it, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. It's like here. Wisdom of Solomon 5, verse 2. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. When these other nations, these heathens, wicked Esau, Edom, when they witness it, right? These Ammonites, these Moabites, these Ishmaelites, these Edomites, when they witness it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. They're going to be amazed. They're not going to be able to process it, man. The strangeness of his salvation. Whose salvation? The elect, beginning with the elect of Israel. Israel being a people before a place, right? So far beyond all they look for. They're not going to be able to fathom it, right? When these chariots are beaming up the elect, caught up to meet our power in the air. YaHaWaShi, HaMashiach, caught up to meet him in the air. They're not going to be able to process it. They're going to bug out. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, right? Great distress, anxiety, right? Of spirit, right? They're not going to know. Shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. Right. This was that same bum, nigger, spick, dirty nigger, wetback, whatever, right? All these reproaches and bywords. That's what these heathen nations are going to be saying. This was him, this bug out, this bum, right? We fools, that's what they're going to be saying to themselves. We fools. I counted his life madness. They looked at us like we're mud, right? And his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High YaHaWaShi? That's what they're not going to be able to understand. How who they had underfoot, who they had in derision, who they looked at as a byword, a reproach, right? How is he numbered among the children of the Most High YaHaWaShi? And his lot among the saints. Let's close out one more scripture. The saints, who are the saints of the Most High YaHaWaShi? Psalms 149. The saints are the elect, beginning with the elect. Psalms 149. A matter of fact, let's get another precept before I go there. Jeremiah 3 verse 23, and it reads, truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills. So there's a vain hope of salvation from the hills. The hills these are the nations, these heathen nations, these are the nations, wicked E. Truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills, from these other nations. They're hoping in vain for salvation. And from the multitude of mountains, these are the nations, multitude of mountains being these other nations. Ishmaelites, Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, right? And from the multitude of mountains, truly in YaHaWah, our power is the salvation of Israel. Only Israel. Beginning with the elect, who are the saints. Psalms 149. Let's close out with the scripture. Psalms 149, verse 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of YaHaWah be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. This is when YaHaWaShi comes back to deliver Israel. Israel being a people before a place. And this is what the elect. This is the honor that the elect is going to be given. To execute vengeance upon the heathen, these are the nations, and punishments upon the people, these are the nations. To bind their kings with chains, these are the nations and the rulership, bind them with chains, and their nobles with fetters of iron, bind them with chains and iron. To execute upon them the judgment written, right? To bind them with fetters of iron and put chains on their neck, right? This honor have all his saints. This is the honor that all the saints of the Most High YaHaWaShi. The elect, beginning with the elect. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye YaHaWah, BaHaSham, YaHaWaShi, BaHaSham, Qadash. I pray you're edified. I don't want to just wanted to touch on that, man, expound on that. The chariots of the Most High YaHaWaShi, which are going to deliver the elect, beginning with the elect, right? Are what the world ignorantly call UFOs, man. You see me? But yeah, I pray you're edified. I don't want to stay prayed, pray without ceasing. Kwame Ashervala, Wa Abad Babal.